So you probably read the title and are thinking to yourself, what does Little Nightmares and Five Nights at Freddy's have in common? Both games are structured differently, on different platforms, are a different genre of video games, and are even on different dimensions. In terms of the 3D dimensional sense, Five Nights at Freddy's being a pseudo 3D horror jumpscare and Little Nightmares having a 3D platform with a spice of thriller. What I mean by Little Nightmares and Five Nights at Freddy's having something in common is that, well, they don't have a plot. Now, hear me out. I'm talking about the first Five Nights at Freddy game, the original one, not the sequels. I understand that their series as a whole has a plotline, but the first game, when it came out, did not have a plot. It was merely a House of Horrors simulator where you had to manage to stay alive in a set of minutes, hours, and games until the level ended. In all senses of the word, plot was not a part of the game. A plotline occurred when Scott Cawthon, creator of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, after making the first Five Nights at Freddy's and gained popularity on YouTube. Little Nightmares is very much in the same boat. Little Nightmares, created by Tiger Studios, famous for their works in the Little Big Planet series, created the game as a way to personify the kind of visions or how children would see things and let us re-experience them as players.
The whole idea, like Dave said during the presentation, is to emphasize or personify the kind of visions or how children would see things and let us re-experience it as players.
This was a quote from an interview made by Bennett Lemon, editor for GamereactorTV, from the co-founder and business developer of Tiger Studios, Andreas Johnson. From what information we are given from the developers of the game for multiple interviews, this game is about experiencing what it's like to be a child in a world that is full of little nightmares. See what I did there? Now, I want to distinguish between lore and plot. Lore is something that you learn about the game's in-game history, like how we learn in Five Nights at Freddy's that the pizzeria we reside in has closed down due to a mysterious bite of 87, briefly mentioned to us twice in the game, once by a tutorial character, Phone Guy, and second as a sort of Easter egg hidden in the background on an old newspaper. Plot, on the other hand, is a term used to describe the events that make up a story. There is no plot for these games. There isn't a reason given to us for Six to be hidden deep inside the maw, the setting inside Little Nightmares, in which the entire game takes place inside of a luggage case. Six just exists. She exists for one reason, to show us how it's like to be a child, not knowing how the world works yet. There isn't a reason for Mike Schmidt, our main character in Five Nights at Freddy's, to be working at a very dangerous, rundown pizzeria with the only help being a dead fellow employee's recorded information. Mike exists for Scott Cawthon to scare the ever-living shit out of us with jump scares. Not having a plot means both games don't have a fully fledged story. Little Nightmares has no story, other than what little information we are given. Heck, we don't even get the names of most characters in the game. The only reason we'd know Six's name is actually Six, because the developer specifically stated so before the game's release. Same with the other characters in the game. Five Nights at Freddy's story is very minimal. Our story is that we are an employee working in a rundown old pizzeria. That's it. This has led to an abundance of fan-created theories. A theory is an idea used to account for a situation or to justify a course of action. Now, let's get this straight. Unless the maker of a game has stated that a theory is 100% correct, it's only a theory, meaning there is no official truth to it. This is where things seem to get cloudy for people. Many fans of Little Nightmares wholeheartedly believe Six to be the daughter of the final antagonist, the lady, solely because there are multiple pictures of a little girl in the lady's headquarters in the final area of the game. This is further fueled by a painting inside of the guest area depicting the lady and a small girl next to her. This painting is supposedly proof that Six and the lady are related. There is nothing stated on paper that Six and the lady have any relations. I've checked countless interviews, searched around on the official site for Little Nightmares, and even played through the game a total of 3 times, and nothing besides these paintings have stated this is the case. Once again, there is nothing wrong with believing in a theory, but this game isn't about a family feud. It's about a child's perceptions of the world through the unknowing eyes. Five Nights at Freddy's, on the other hand, is completely opposite to Little Nightmares. The most famous theory about Five Nights at Freddy's, being the 5 children were murdered and stuffed inside of the animatronic suits, turned out to be true. Not only that, but that this theory was the base of the entire franchise and will later lead to having an important role in the Five Nights at Freddy's sequels and books, which fleshed this theory out even more. There is nothing wrong with not having a plot though. Some of the most famous games have no plot whatsoever, such as the original Metroid. Metroid is an action-adventure video game developed by Nintendo, where you fight your way out and destroy an alien spaceship. Players who originally played the game weren't given a reason for Samus, the main character, to be on the ship. We only learned later on that our main character was tasked to destroy the spaceship. What I'm trying to say here is that games don't need to have a plot in order to gain fame or infamy in the gaming industry, but believing that a story exists where there is none doesn't do the game any justice. These two games, Little Nightmares and Five Nights at Freddy's, were able to gain just as much popularity as games that are heavily story-oriented, like Grand Theft Auto 5 or Night in the Woods, because they were unique experiences. And I think that's okay.